is the official launch of Dayo. What is Dayo, you ask? Well, first of all, it is a new movement in women's luxury loungewear created by Yolanda White along with a female designer, and of course the face for the beautiful line is my beautiful, beautiful sister, Chili. The line is all about luxury, but most importantly it's about women feeling beautiful from the inside out, feeling beautiful at the place that starts our day, at home. This is the official Dayo launch. Hey, it's Christal Jordan, and we are here at the actual Dayo launch in Atlanta, Georgia, with founder Yolanda White, and of course, TLC's Chili. So we're here for the launch, and you guys have been talking to people about how you got started and what prompted the line. But I wanted to bring up first that it's a picture of two women, and it's sensual, and it's a very different thing than you think of when you think of women that are sexy at night, at home. It's a lot classier. It's a different picture. So Yolanda, how important was it for you to kind of change the idea of what we think of as sexy?
Yeah, I think at the forefront, changing the notion of what it means to be beautiful and sexy is really what Dayo is all about. And I'm just looking at this picture here. It's all about the fact that when we get home, we want to be comfortable, but we don't want to leave behind the fact that we want to be beautiful. And so it's merging those two things together of how can we change the face? How can we make this look and feel a lot different than what we are used to seeing, and have it done on our terms as women,
right,
in the way that really represents who we are.
Right. Now we know that for years you've been changing the idea of what women see as sexy and coming from a different perspective, not taking anything away, but just defining it in your own terms. So how important do you think it is for women to be able to embrace all sides of themselves and not just the naked? We see the,
right, yeah.
the naked look all the time.
The lacy look.
Right, right.
Well, because we're all different, and what this look may not look good on this body or the next body. And so that's why you have to embrace it all, and you have to know that just because you don't look a certain way doesn't mean you're not beautiful and you're not sexy. You are. It's just that you may not see that as much because of whatever reason, but it doesn't mean that you're not. Right. So and that's been very important to me all the time, because me, I like a dress, but it has to be
not really.
Yeah. Not your typical type dresses.
Exactly.
I like something with an edge, and I still want to feel comfortable.
Right.
I don't want to be uncomfortable.
Right.
So.
Well, I think that's a good point, because a lot of times the designs that we see, I know that you actually have a female designer, Jenny, that was here doing interviews with you earlier. This is a women's line that was inspired by women, created by women. So it's women really defining what is sexy to them. Was that important for you to have women involved in the creation of the line?
It was so important. The philosophy of my company is that you will never see a room, any meeting, where there are more men than women, ever. And so having a brand that really starts with women at the forefront was something that has been our mantra from the very beginning. It doesn't mean that we're alienating to men, though. It just means that we value and we're empowering women, and we're giving them an opportunity to lead from the highest levels of how we develop the proposition all the way to how we execute the brand. And that's been at the forefront of how we thought about Dayo.
Right, so that's the business side.
Yeah.
But for you, with men kind of dictating, being in the music industry, a lot of times men are who decides what's considered sexy, what women should be doing, what women should be wearing. How important was it for you that Yolanda actually created this women deciding this is what we think is sexy, this is what feels good on our bodies? Some of the things that men design don't really suit us,
Well, because the majority is not always the most popular, and the thing is, when you are at home, you want to be comfortable. You should be comfortable, but at the same time, it's really, when you go to a store or a lingerie store, it's either overly sexy or it's just some old cotton PJs,
right.
And they're not very soft.
Yeah.
But Dayo fabric is so soft. It has such a beautiful sheen to it, and so you can go home be comfortable but still feel beautiful, you know, when you're cooking, which is what I love to do, and or just watching, you know, Nat Geo Wild, which is what I love to do. You know, you can just kind of relax in that, and so that's what I love most about it. You know, because again, most women want to be comfortable, you're not going to feel uncomfortable in Dayo.
Right.
It's just not happening.
Right, and I think if you feel beautiful, you tend to exude that.
No, you do, 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
And you actually talked about the inspiration for the brand being a good friend of yours that might not have been feeling as beautiful as she was.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about how that
Yeah, I mean, I have some of the most amazing friends, but this one particular friend is uber educated, has a family, leads a major business, and she found herself in a situation in a crossroad where her marriage wasn't working so well. And just having the courage to be able to talk about that, and then to pair that with, at the end of the day, not forget the marriage because I want to save the marriage, but I feel bad about how I feel about myself. And to be able to provide women with not only a solution, but to open up the conversation of, if you don't feel good about yourself, let's talk about that. Let's get to a place where self-love is at the forefront of our discussion, so you can be a better, stronger, emotional being that will lead people and your family in a more powerful way. So that sort of was underneath it all.
When we talk about self-love, people think, you know, well, you got to get a better self-esteem, you need to get self-confidence, but it's not as easy as just saying that to somebody. Can you speak about like being in the public eye for so long? I'm sure you've had to deal with, how did you build your own self-esteem and get to the point where you were really comfortable with who you were and being able to say, I'm not doing that, that's not me, this is what works for me, and this is how I feel comfortable?
Well, I think it is a combination of my upbringing and just how God made me, you know, seriously, because you can have certain things, instilled in you, but we all will fall for the okie doke at different times in our lives, and you kind of have to look at the bigger picture of it all and understand that I don't care who you are. One, no one is perfect.
Right.
We all have our insecurities, and it's okay.
Right.
And so once you own those things about yourself, then that's when you get the real power.
Right.
You know, and you understand, like, you know, it's nothing wrong with you. You know, we all need to improve ourselves, of course, and that's what life is all about. You know, you go through things and you gotta learn the lesson. Learn the lesson. Please learn the lesson. Because, you know, when you learn the lesson, then you feel the growth inside of you, you know, and so, and then it helps to get you to that place where you're more resilient when it comes to negative things, people saying stuff, because once they see that it's not bothering you, or you know, you kind of like say something back to them and not even being negative, you know, really, that's how you feel about me? Oh my God. I didn't even know you read your I love you. You know, because
power away,
because the thing is, most people that are being ugly towards you have so many issues going on with themselves, and they really truly need a hug. That's what it is, you know. So
that's true.
You have to you just have to, you know that words won't kill you.
Right.
You know,
breakups and words won't kill you.
They won't. They will not kill you. And the thing that will kill you is you allowing that stress to get to you. And so you can't give anybody that kind of power. You have to own that yourself.
Right. Now, Yolanda, you were on the other side because you were a corporate exec for many, many years, and so you have this, you know, this corporate exterior. Were there ever times that you dealt with feeling your own insecurities or things like that women may not have seen, but may have been true to what you were going through?
Yeah, so many, honestly. I mean, you know, I work with people from different countries who spoke multiple languages, and I'm real fluent at English, but that's as far as it goes.
Right.
So, yeah, there have been times just questioning, am I good enough? You know? And it's happened throughout my entire career. It even happens with me being an entrepreneur. And what I have never verbalized, but definitely feel is at the forefront, is just making sure that I power through some of those thoughts. And I keep a bank of just what I call like my validation, to say, no, you got this, girl. Like, you know, just keep moving. And you know, everything won't be perfect, but if you learn how to pick yourself up when you fall, it gets easier and easier to continue to pick yourself up. And so
And you don't fall as much.
and you don't fall as much because you learn and you accept, maybe I need help in this area or another area. So becoming self-aware really has been a big part of my journey.
I think if young women heard that from someone like you or like you, that they probably wouldn't assume feels like that. It could kind of make them feel better, because a lot of times you're going through things like that, you think no one else has felt like
Oh my
that,
gosh,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah. So what would you say to like a 16-year-old version of yourself today after having this amazing corporate career and now, you know, going on to launch your own line? What would you go back and say to her?
Don't be afraid to take risks. Do what's in your heart, but be smart about it. And one piece that I think we've talked about, like, always have a plan A, but don't move on plan A until you thought about a plan B. So if anything happens and you need to pick yourself up, you have an idea in mind of how you could get there.
What about you? Now, you know, you were on your journey pretty early, But what would you say to yourself if you could go back and talk to yourself when you were 4 years old, got signed? When you first got signed and you first started in the business, because I know you've learned a lot of lessons through there. But what lesson would you give that younger version of Chili when she just signed with TLC?
I know, because then I wouldn't have acid reflux. If I could go back and talk to her, but what the 20-year-old person listen to you?
I don't know.
That's
a good point.
That's the
a good
thing,
point.
you
That's
know.
a good point.
But oh my gosh, there's so much that I would tell my 20-year-old self. But I think most importantly is always just gotta trust the gut feeling.
Yeah.
You know, the gut feeling is never, when it's a gut feeling, it's never wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's wrong when you go against that feeling, you know.
Right.
And I don't care if the gut feeling is telling you not to do something and everybody else is doing it, or, you know, because it's usually a majority kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? So you got to trust it and listen to it, because you'll save yourself a lot of heartache and just huge disappointments and things like that. So, yeah.
We talk about that being like God's gift to women. He gives us that
intuition.
That intuition that is always right. Coming up with the inspiration, obviously, from your friend, and then probably your own things that you were dealing with. But where did the name come from?
So the name is an African name. We know both of my kids have African names as well. It means happiness has arrived, and because this is a brand about much more purpose, I wanted to make sure that the name actually had some meaning behind it. But it also sort of is a shortcut for you can wear Dayo in the day and on, so that's there. And then it's the first two letters of my first name and the last two letters of my first name.
Lots of symbolism.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of things going on.
Yeah.
So, which is why we put the emphasis on the Y in the name, because it links back to me. But yeah, that's Dayo. It's African name.
Big launch. Where do you see this company going in the next year?
We have a complete growth plan over the next year, so it's expansion into a more competitive price proposition that still has all the functional benefits and the soft feel that you see in the brand today. We will also do some exciting Mother's Day signature items that will launch, and then you'll see some surprise distribution places.
Nice.
But we'll be at Fashion Week doing some fabulous stuff.
Nice. Where can people find Dayo if they are interested in buying?
You can find it. Yeah, it's online, dayowomen.com.
All right. Yes.
Thank you.
All right. This has been Christal Jordan. We're here at the Dayo launch in Atlanta, Georgia. You guys are going to see more from the panel with Yolanda White and, of course, Chili. And so we'll catch you guys in there. Bye.